So Mr. Everett and the sub should have gone around and checked to see if you completed your you-do number 2. You should have had it either check marked as they went around to see if you did any work and then signed if you completed it correctly. And so we're going to go over the warm-up. If you haven't gotten your you-do marked by Mr. Everett or the sub, you need to do that right now. Raise your hand, and then we're going to go through the warm-up together. So this warm-up tells us that we need to solve and graph. So another inequality, this is a multi-step inequality. Notice that we do have variables on both sides of the equation. Before we can get to solving for x, I need to deal with the distribution problem that we have here. So I'm going to take that -2 and I'm going to distribute it. I'm going to multiply it to both these terms. -2 times a -2 times a 3 is a -6. And a -2 times a -2x is a positive 4x. Okay. So next step is that we need to check to see if there are any variables for us to combine or any like terms that we can combine. I have 6, a -6, and a positive 4x. Those are not like terms. I have a 7x and I have a -9. Those are not like terms. So I can move on to the next step, which is to move my smaller variable. The smaller of the two variables is that positive 4x. Positive 7x is bigger, so therefore we're going to move that positive 4x to the opposite side. So I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides. Notice that I'm putting the x underneath the other x. I get a -6 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 9. This is now a regular two-step equation, so therefore I need to get x by itself here. Everything that is on the side of the x, which is this 3 and the -9, need to move away from the x. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And when I do so, I get 3. Don't know why I put m. And so the very last step in this is to divide both sides by 3. Now, I do not flip my symbol because, again, I divided both sides by a positive 3, so I get a positive 1. I need to graph this on the number line, so I'm going to put 1 in the center, put a couple of numbers on either side here. I need to decide what kind of circle I'm going to draw. I notice that this one has a line underneath, so that means that I have a closed circle. So I'm going to draw a closed circle at -1. And then I notice that right here, the smallest part of the symbol is touching my variable. So therefore I want small numbers, which means I'm going to shade to the left. Okay. So your graph should look like this. Or if you want to use just an arrow going left, I'm okay with that too. Next, we're going to look at the you-do that you guys were supposed to do. And again, Mr. Everett and the sub should have been around checking all of that out. And let's see. You and your friends plan a horse riding event. The facility charges $47 service fee. That is your starting amount. And plus $12.50 per hour. That is going to be your X. So we are also looking for the number of hours. So the inequality that you should have written down should have been 47 plus 1250x. And it says if you can spend up to $150, that is going to be a less than or equal to symbol. Okay. When you work this out, you should get a decimal. And it does tell you in the problem how many full hours can you ride. So the question is, do I round down to 8 hours or do I round up to 9? Now this says that I can only afford less than this. So therefore I cannot afford anything higher than $8 or 8 hours. So your final answer is going to be X has to be less than or equal to 8 hours. That looks terrible. Sorry about that. If you want to shorthand that to HRS for hours, you can do that also. Okay. We do have one more example to go over for our notes, so therefore I do need you guys to go ahead and get out your notes from yesterday, and we're going to work on example 3. Don't forget that this you do needs to be put in the basket. So you should have done, never mind. Example 3. The cost to purchase a song from iTunes is 99 cents per song. To purchase a song from Napster, you must be a member. The Napster membership fee is $10. In addition, each purchased song cost 89 cents. How many downloaded songs, D, we can use X if you want to, must be purchased for the monthly price of Napster to be less than the cost of iTunes? Okay. So iTunes is a company that's still going strong. Napster is a company that is no longer in existence. We don't do this quite often anymore. You can download songs from iTunes and other type of companies, but most of the time we usually have like a monthly fee for unlimited downloads. So notice that I did split this up into 2 different parts. We do have iTunes and Napster here because we are comparing 2 different companies. Because we are comparing 2 different companies, I will be using 2 different colors. So I'm going to use blue for iTunes. iTunes says that they charge 99 cents per song. Per meaning times song X. Because I don't know how many songs I'm going to download. So I'm going to write this down. iTunes is 0.99x. Okay. Next thing we know is we have Napster here. It says that you have to have a membership. The membership fee is $10. This fee is like your initial value. Okay, so we're going to write down 10. In addition, that's plus sign. That's kind of nice. Each times song X, and we're going to times that by 89 cents. So notice this one's a little bit backwards. Normally it would say 89 cents for each song, but it says each song is 89 cents. Okay, doesn't matter, it means the same thing. So we're going to write that as 0.89x. Okay, and it says the very last part, how many downloaded songs must be purchased for the monthly price of Napster to be less than iTunes? So what we're going to do is it says Napster should be less than iTunes. N has to be less than iTunes. Notice that I wrote out the inequality without any numbers in it. I don't need numbers right now. I just have to have a basic understanding of how I'm going to write this out. Napster has to go first. Napster has to go first, and then the less than symbol has to go next, and then iTunes has to go last. It has to go in that order. So you need to take the time to slow down, write things out, and understand what order that they have to be put in order to do this correctly. So Napster goes first. So I'm going to do this here. And then iTunes goes next. And then I'm going to work this out. I don't have any distribution. I don't have any like terms to combine, but I do have variables on both sides of my inequalities. The rule for that is I need to move the smallest variable, and in this case, the smallest variable is your 89 cents x compared to your 99 cents x. So we do need to move that 89 cents x to the other side. So I'm going to minus it on both sides. When I subtract 89 cents from 99 cents, I get 10 cents. And then the last step is I'm going to divide both sides by 10 cents. When I do that, you're going to get 100. And this is going to be songs, 100 songs. So we need to make sense of this. We need to make sense of this. And to do that, we're going to write it out in a sentence. So if I look back at my inequality here, I remember I have to read from the x over. This says that my x, the number of songs, has to be bigger because this is a greater than symbol. Remember, the big part of the mouth is touching the x. So that means that I need more than 100 songs. So in order for Napster to be smaller than iTunes, I need to have or download more than 100 songs. So we're going to write that down. So in order for Napster to be, and you can use the words less than again if you want to, or you can use the words cheaper because less than means cheaper. In order for Napster to be cheaper than iTunes, you must download more than 100 songs. Instead of using the word more than, you can put greater than if you want to. It's up to you. The words mean the same thing. Okay? What I want you guys to do is to go ahead and get to your you do, and I want you to start the you do. Okay, so we're going to pause the video and we're going to look at the you do. 5 minutes, go ahead and pause the video, do the you do, walk around, check, make sure again you get your check mark or your signature before the video starts. You do number 3 is a comparison of two different companies like we did on the previous example. We have two different companies, one called UPS and the other one called FedEx. So we are looking at additional pounds. So that is going to be our X pounds. Now, I did not set this up with a breakage in both UPS and FedEx. You'll have to do that on your own. So when it comes to your worksheet, when it comes to your quizzes and your test, I will not tell you that you're comparing two different things. You'll need to work that one out yourself. So UPS tells us they charge $7 and plus 20 cents for each additional pound. Okay, so each does not mean times, but it means does not mean X, but it means times. So plus the 20 cents X. Okay, FedEx charges $5 and that's that plus sign, 30 cents for each pound. Okay. FedEx, $5 plus 30 cents X. And it says, how many pounds will it take for UPS, so UPS, to cost less than or equal to the cost of FedEx? So it tells us what order we need to write this in. So it'll be written as such, 7 plus the 20 cents X has to be less than or equal to 5 plus the 30 cents X. Now, when you work this all out, you should get the answer of X is greater than or equal to 20. And remember, this is in pounds. If you want to write it as 20 lbs, that's fine too. Either one is fine. So 20 pounds. You need to write me a sentence explaining what your answer means. It should mention that, again, in order for UPS to be cheaper than or the same price as FedEx, you need to mail a package of 20 pounds or more. Okay, so please get this put in the basket. So again, the you do is due right now before you leave. Go ahead and pass out the worksheet, get started on it. You need to have at least, there's that word, you need to have at least 2 problems worked out before tomorrow. So you need to come to class with number 1 and number 2 worked out. And then tomorrow I will be back and we will do a work day, which is where you will have the time to practice, because practice makes perfect, and get those questions answered in time for you to prepare for your quiz on Friday. If you have any questions, again, you can message me or you can ask Mr. Everett or the sub in class. Thanks, and I'll see you guys later.